And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. You got it.
And we had to bring in the big guns. We're talking Major League Baseball opening day, all that fun, the festivities. Yep. We talked Minnesota Twins taking on the Royals.
Yep.
We talked a little Rockies. They got a tough matchup against the Padres. Talked National League Futures. Now we got to talk the American League Futures here. And the guest I'm speaking of is Matt Plotchik. Matt, how are we doing?
We're good. Let's go Royals.
I mean, they're going somewhere. I just don't know if it's up.
Yeah, I don't know either.
No, thanks for joining us again. And we always say it. We got to finish strong.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's start with the American League East. New York Yankees way out in front here at a plus 115. Blue Jays catching a lot of buzz here.
Yeah.
They're right behind them at a plus 185. Tampa Bay Rays, they're always in the mix at plus 360. Then things kind of fall off with the Red Sox and Baltimore Orioles bringing up the rear.
Yeah, Andy, and you know, this is true. The Yankees have to be the clear-cut favorite here. They're just stacked. The New York Yankees haven't won a World Series title since 2009. New York's 13-year championship drought is one of the longest in franchise history and growing, you know, the source of frustration for most Yankee fans across the nation.
A bunch of losers.
Exactly. The Yankees spent aggressively this offseason with Judge becoming, you know, the highest paid player of all time.
Yeah, well.
And Carlos Rondon lasting a $162 million contract. New York now boasts an outstanding playoff rotation complemented by one of the best lineups in baseball, and I just think that they are the clear-cut number one in the AL East. Given that, I really like the Blue Jay team and a lot of young talent. I'd like to hear what Matt has to say on the subject.
Here we go.
Well, I'm going to go basic and tell you all this AL East is an absolute buzzsaw.
There you go.
You know, polar opposite, National League Central, train wreck. This is a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
All five teams have the capability of being 500 and above.
Yeah, a lot of people are even talking about Baltimore.
Yeah, no doubt.
I saw a few headlines that the Orioles were gathering.
Yeah, Baltimore's got some elite talent. Adley Rutschman, their starting catcher. Give him a couple, 3 years. He probably will be an all-star.
Mount Castle. Yep.
The name to look for those guys, too, Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar Henderson.
Check mark that one. But no, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, it's a two-horse race. You got the Blue Jays, you got the Yankees.
Yeah.
And as much it pains me to say this, probably going to be the Yankees coming out on top just because of what they did in the offseason.
That's not a terrible bet, Matt, not only because it's the Yankees, but it's at plus money right now.
And
I think it's because it's the East. Like you're saying, it's a beast this year. I kind of like the Blue Jays, though, just for value's sake, and it's hard to argue with that lineup. They brought more guys in. They got really good pitching. They check all the boxes. Right. They're like New York. Like you said, it's just a buzzsaw of a division.
Yeah, agreed. Toronto fortified its rotation with Chris Bassett, giving it a four-man trio that, you know, can peak whenever it needs to. So I really like Toronto as well. I just think the Yankees are just that much better than them.
Yeah,
they're going to take the East pretty easily.
Yeah, they probably are. And this is, we mentioned it earlier, there's a new balanced schedule that the MLB is rolling out this year where you're only playing 52 divisional games compared to 76 the season before and seasons prior. So this is a case where this division's not going to beat itself up.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to have games being traded between the Yankees and Blue Jays. Blue Jays get to go out and take down the Oakland Athletics.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they're going to be able to pick up 3 or 4 wins on the road like that and not have to play such a grinder of a schedule. So, all right, should we move out to the American League West?
Let's go all the way out west.
Heading out west, sucker. All right, well, and God, my Oakland Athletics don't look very good. We don't need to talk about them, guys. Everyone's talking about the Houston Astros. Yeah. They are the big-time favorites here at minus 200. Seattle Mariners at plus 350 in the 2-hole 3. Los Angeles Angels. I mean, they got the 2 best players on the planet. You can make an argument for either one of them. They're in the 3-hole at plus 800, and then it really falls off with the Rangers and my Oakland Athletics. Well, that's about as bad as odds as you can get.
No, you can't get worse odds than that.
2,500.
Yeah. No. We'll be touching that.
1.
Let me first talk about the Seattle Mariners. You know, they ended their 2-decade-long playoff drought in 2022.
That was fun.
Now it's time to take the next step forward. Right. Seattle upgraded its lineup from offseason with Hernandez and Wong will be a significant improvement at second base. Pair that with the improvements from Julio Rodriguez in arguably one of the most underrated rotations in baseball. Do I think they'll beat the Astros for this, West Crown? No, but they are, again, one of my dark horses to take down the whole thing as maybe even a wild card. So I like the Seattle Mariners. I just don't think that they're going to have that. I don't think they're going to have a good enough regular season to beat the Houston Astros for this West Crown.
I mean, you're kind of banking on a lot of people improvements or building on improvements or staying on the same line. Where are you at with that, Matt?
This is also another division that top to bottom is pretty dang loaded. You got your elite talent. You got the Astros, who are probably
the world beaters,
on favorite to win the World Series. I wouldn't sleep on the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
My boys in my league will appreciate this comment, but they've done a lot of acquisitions in the offseason. They acquired Jacob deGrom. Josh Young is another up-and-coming prospect that they're bringing up. He got a little playtime last year.
Yep. Nathan Eovaldi. Do not sleep on the Rangers. Yeah. I like the Rangers as well. And like you said, Andy, the Los Angeles Angels, can they put it together 1 year? That's all they need to do is put it together in 1 year. Shohei Ohtani, this is his last year probably in Los Angeles, unless he goes to the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But no, you can't sleep on him, but you kind of can, because we've seen this product so many times with Trout and Ohtani at least 3 years in a row. So, no, I really think it's a two-headed monster between the Astros and the Mariners, giving the slight edge to the Astros.
Now, we talked about the schedule changes. There's also a few other changes that I want to ask you guys about, because I do believe it's going to affect betting, especially early on in the season, and it's going to affect some teams more than others. Obviously, that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. First off, let's talk about the shift limitations. You're going to have 2 infielders on each side of second base all the time. No more putting one guy in shallow right, one guy at second base, and one guy, and also the pitch clock. 15 seconds when bases are empty, 20 seconds in between pitches when runners on. We've already seen Zach Greinke and other guys kind of push the envelope. I think that's really going to favor teams with old, crafty pitchers. So I'm kind of looking at Houston like, they might have something there.
Yeah.
And Seattle, I just don't know if it's going to affect them or it's not. I really don't know.
Yeah. The thing with the pitch clock, Andy, I think it's really on the batters. It's a disadvantage for the batters.
I do too.
Because they can't get out, do their, thing with their gloves 24 times, grab their junk and all that kind of stuff. I really think, like you said, it really is an advantage to the crafty pitchers. And with that shift, it's supposed to, really help the home run hitters, the guys that go, strikeout or home run kind of guys that are just grounding out. So, no, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I really can't wait to see what, all transpires from it.
The third one that often gets left out of the discussion is the large base large bases.
Yeah. From 15-inch to 18-inch bases.
Right. And, 3 inches you probably think wouldn't make such a big deal, but if you think about it from a standpoint of a base stealer, who's going to want to get out, that 3 inches does make a big difference in terms of their route from first to second and going on from there.
I could see that helping, and we'll talk about them a bit here, but Minnesota, a team that does like to run the bases, that could really help them out. And then also the pickoff moves. Pitches are limited to 2 disengagements.
That's good.
So that's going to, once again, I think that helps. That kind of parlays it together. If you've got a good base runner, he can time that up. Okay, he's down to 2. He can't check me off again.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that could really weigh heavy there. So I think we're all in agreement there. We like Houston to probably take it down.
Yeah.
But keep your eye on the Mariners and Angels. What are you doing? Give me one.
Come on.
But we can't.
Come on, Ohtani.
Just can't quite count on it,
He'll probably win the MVP, and they'll probably be in 3rd place.
All righty. Yeah.
Probably so.
Probably so.
That's got to be a bet out there. They'll finish 3rd and might also win the Cy Young. But all right, let's talk American League Central.
Let's do it.
The Cleveland Guardians are the favorite at plus 125. Chicago White Sox in most books are in the 2-hole there at plus 210. Minnesota Twins right behind them, though, at plus 220. Detroit Tigers, it really falls off with Detroit, and Kansas City Royals bringing up the rear. Royals plus 4,000.
I would bet on that. Just kidding. I would throw money just to see what happens. But no, AL Central really, it's a 3.
I'll tell you what happens.
I tell you, it's a 3-horse race, and I would. I would interchange Minnesota and Chicago.
Sure.
I'm hearing a lot of that, yeah.
Mainly because, Chicago, brand new manager. It's Pedro Grifol, the former bench coach for the Royals.
He'll probably stay awake more.
Lost the big stick with Jose Abreu.
Lost a big one with Jose Abreu. But
some people are saying that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they're still bringing back a lot of elite talent. They brought in Elvis Andrus, who's had a resurgence.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Luis Robert. There's some names that, are household out there for them. But, yeah, you can't deny Cleveland's probably the cream of the crop here in the Central.
Yeah, I agree that they should be the odds-on favorite, but I do believe the Minnesota Twins have the best up and down lineup in the Central.
Oh, here we go.
Injuries have played a significant role for the Twins, missing the playoffs in each of the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Considering the lineup is led by Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, Max Kepler, and Jorge Polanco, durability and upside are just the theme of the Twins. It's the same on the pitching staff with Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, and Joe Ryan.
I like that,
all
Sonny
high-end
Gray.
starters when healthy, but it's far from a guarantee. I think they have the best talent in the Central, and that's where my heart is, but I do think they have the best team in the Central. They just got to stay healthy.
That's also a misconception, Matt. Like, don't bet on your team. Don't bet on, who you root for or you favor. That's a bunch of malarkey because that's a team that you actually have an edge on. You know more about that team than anybody else. So you just got to separate. Like if I'm a Husker football fan, no, you just don't pick them to win every time.
Yeah.
You look at that point spread and you work with those numbers. Every team has a number, and I like this number for the Minnesota Twins right here. I mean, they're picked third, and you even started it off, Matt, with you could interchange them easily with the Chicago White Sox.
Right.
I think the White Sox have a ton of question marks.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree that the Guardians should be the overall favorite in the Central. I just think the Minnesota Twins have the best lineup top to bottom, but that could be a homer in me as well. Just because, I do think Jose Ramirez is a MVP candidate for the Guardians. I think he might win it this year for the AL just because I think they're going to be right there with right around 98 to 100 wins, and he's going to be the best player on their team.
Wouldn't you say, Matt, that the Guardians, their greatest advantage is their depth at pitching, not just starting pitchers, but their relievers? And I heard an argument, and I don't know how I feel about it, but the pitch clock they're saying is going to hurt pitchers more on the relievers because they're not going to be able to walk around the mound, take their time, and have that recovery time, that short span recovery time. But that's also where I think the Guardians are equipped to deal with that type of wear and tear because they're deeper than everybody else.
Right. I mean, when you start off your rotation with a man named Shane Bieber, I mean, it's right there. I mean, he had over 200 strikeouts last year, 2.89 ERA.
And he ain't slowing down.
And he's not slowing down.
No.
The X factor with the Indians, though, is the health of Tristan McKenzie.
There you go.
They just put him on the 10-day DL. That's a little hit for their overall progression.
Rotation.
So
you don't like to start off a season like that.
But no, I think they have enough depth. They're able to overcome this, and you do make a valid point about the pitch clock being the fact of that really does affect relievers. Well, you got to think about it in the sense that it also can be a plus for a starter because they get into a rhythm, they get into a tempo, and before you know it, they keep that game moving.
Yeah. And there's also a neurological thing with your eyesight. Like you can't forget certain things. And so if you can get that pitch back within 11 seconds, the batter can't adjust from the last pitch to that one. Like that's just a weird, crazy clinical study thing I saw. You can probably look it up on Netflix or something, one of those crazy documentaries. Jabron. We've been waiting all episode long. You are the parlay pounder. Do you have a parlay play?
I do. Okay, starting off with the run line, -1.5, Braves over the Nationals. Taking that. I'm also taking the Twins money line, not the run line, but the money line at -156 over the Kansas City Royals. And then I'm ending it with the San Diego Padres run line, -1.5 at a +105 over the Colorado Rockies. Total risk of $20 to win 96. I think all three of these teams have very, very, very good chance of covering this. Give me that.
I really like that. Matt, what do you think of that?
I love it.
Let's
run with it.
You mentioned something there, and I want you to really lay it out there for our listeners. What's the difference between a money line and a run line? Because you switched up a little bit where you're not going money line, you're not going run line, you're going money line.
Yeah, money line with the Twins, just because I do think that they're going to win, but I don't think they're going to beat them by 2. With the run line in Major League Baseball, they'll have the favored team by -1.5. So they have to win by 2 runs to cover that bet. I do believe the Braves and Padres can do it tomorrow. I think the Twins just eke out a win against the Royals on opening day.
All righty, Matt. You're still good with it, right?
I'm good. I can live with giving you 1.
Twins win by 1.
And of course, we had to, on opening day, we had to get a Royals fan, diehard, and a Twins fan. And I didn't say much, because I'm an Oakland A's fan. So that's where we'll be right there. But that'll do it for us this week, folks. Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-Cities Radio, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really got the ball rolling with those shorts.
Heck yes, we do.
That's a lot of fun, and that thing's building, and daily, weekly picks, all that good stuff.
Please subscribe.
For Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, Matt Plotchick, thanks for joining the show, man.
Thank you much. Thanks for being with me.
My name is Andy Klassen. Thank you all for listening. This has been WTL.